Good afternoon, everyone. It's April 17th, 2020. I'm Eric. How's everyone doing this afternoon? I hope you're doing well. Alright, that's more like it. Almost time to shave. Alright, so, before I get on this page, I'm going to go ahead and hit these over here and talk about these dirty bastards the public calls heroes. Law enforcement, among other things. Okay, so where'd it go? Oh yeah, right. Y'all better use this time to fix your cracked windshields, plate lights, expired tags, and insurance, because when this is over, it's game on. Internet destroys police department for promising to extort citizens for victimless crimes after lockdown. Well, here's the thing, is if they are victimless, they're not actual crimes. They are edicts. So this happened in Burlington, Indiana. Beginning in March with the onset of COVID-19 restrictions, millions of Americans found themselves without a job. Since then, the United States has been experiencing record unemployment, now on track to top 20 million new jobless claims this month. Simply put, Americans are struggling right now, and the measly $1,200 stimulus checks don't even begin to undo the damage caused by the lockdown. And you heard that piece of shit Mnuchin on TV talking about how he wants to make everyone whole again. Now, how the fuck is he going to do this? Can he wave a magical wand and bring all those lost jobs back? Those businesses, a very large portion of them, will never open again. Never. And during this, we have these assholes threatening us. Isn't that nice? Isn't that compassionate? Isn't that America? You know, land of the free, home of the slave. So, and be expecting these assholes to be harassing the American people at a level never seen before if these restrictions ever get lifted. I say if because Donald Trump has pretty much just left it up to individual governors, and a lot of these governors like their thumb being pressed firmly down on their citizens' heads. And I say their citizens because, from the point of view of most of the citizens, they are owned by that governor. They are sheeple. Obama! Obama! Alright, I'm back over here. We got, look at this. Trump stabs 9/11 victims' families in the back. Breaks promise to release secrets in Saudi lawsuit. I told you this motherfucker is a Trojan horse. He is there to do exactly what is going on. He is there to collapse the economy. He is there to usher in the Internet of Things, 5G, and AI all over the place, among other dystopian shit. This is your man right here. And I'm going to get into this one, and just briefly, again, and this one. Let's check out how big the knife is that Trump has put in the backs of the American people, not just the victims' families. All right? So last September, after an oil field was bombed in Saudi Arabia, President Trump tweeted that we are waiting to hear from the kingdom to find out under what terms we would proceed. Doesn't that sound like, Saudi Arabia was dictating the terms? It sounds an awful lot like our Revolutionary War when the so-called defeated party dictated the agreement. King George. Sounds just like that. All right, so they're waiting to find out what terms they would proceed to send them our military assets. The President of the United States admitted that he was waiting on orders to be handed down from a theocratic dictatorship in Saudi Arabia on how to use the men and women in the U.S. Armed Forces. Naturally, this prompted backlashes from all sides, and for good reason. Saudi Arabia is the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. And you keep on hearing about Iran being the sponsor of terror. No, not Iran. Saudi Arabia, Israel, United States. These are the trinity of terror. What a great term I just coined, isn't it? The trinity of terror. United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. You might want to use that. So, despite knowing that the Saudis aided and funded the terrorists who flew planes into two World Trade Center towers that on that fateful day back in 2001, Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and now Donald Trump have bowed down to the dictatorial regime, quite literally. And you know what they're at here, right? Let's see. Just so that we're enlightened. That's what I want more than anything in this world, people. I want enlightenment. That's my desire. I love my children, okay? But short of them, that's all I really care about is being enlightened. And the more enlightened I become, the happier I am. Isn't that weird? So, after Trump bows to Saudi's decision to release evidence of Saudi's funding 9/11 gets reversed. You remember that? You remember this right here? Yeah, what the fuck is that about? Well, why is the American president bowing to a Saudi dictator? Can you explain this to me? All you retarded Trump supporters. I mean, this really does show that you are retards. It really does. The support the United States establishment pledges to the terrorist dictatorship in Saudi Arabia is an insult to every single person who has served. It's also an insult to all those retarded right-wingers that jumped on the Trump train just to see all of it derailed. What they thought was going to be a heaven-sponsored presidency ended up being the opposite. And what's even worse about that is none of them, or very few anyway, are willing to admit that they were retards for voting Trump. He looked us in the eye on 9/11. He shook our hands in the White House and said, "I'm going to help you. It's done." Recalled one of those present, Brett Eagleson, a banker whose father was killed in the World Trade Center, according to ProPublica. In quotes, I think the 9/11 families have lost all hope that the president is going to step up and do the right thing. He's too beholden to the Saudis. You know what? Somehow I don't think I'm going to ever get the props that I deserve. Somehow. But that's okay. That's all right. What else? Men freed. Understand your ground law after shooting cops he thought were kidnappers. See, there is some good news out there. You just gotta stumble across it. This is from Matt Argust. This happened in Port St. John, Florida. The Free Thought Project has reported on multiple instances in which police officers invade a home and are shot in the process. Thousands of these no-knock raids take place across the country every single year. Most of them are over alleged possession of substances deemed illegal by the state. And again, if there is no victim, there is no actual crime. You cannot commit a crime against yourself. So, there's that. But what happens when people defend their homes against these home invaders? But what does happen? Well, as the following case illustrates, sometimes justice can be served, and this is a rarity, people. In 2015, John DeRosa, 60, was arrested for trying to kill three Brevard County sheriff's deputies. However, after a long legal battle, this former security guard has been found or freed under Florida's Stand Your Ground law, rather. And make no mistake about it, this poor bastard will be a target of these cops from here on out. Guaranteed. Naturally, the idea of letting a man free for shooting a cop didn't resonate well in the law enforcement community. The state attorney's office issued a statement disagreeing with the decision to free DeRosa. Our law enforcement officers risk their lives daily to protect our communities. This ruling adds to that risk by extending protection to those who turn a blind eye to criminal activity even within their own home. The criminal activity referred to in the above statement was the fact that DeRosa's niece, Mary Ellis DeRosa, 47, entered into consensual exchanges with willing participants. She was a whore. Okay? So, and, well, justice was served. Yep. Justice was served. Now, I don't encourage you ladies to be whores, but people do what they got to do to survive. If that's what she has to do, that's what she has to do. It's her business, not mine. And it's not my place to throw stones at her either. So, and here's the last one. You might do well, Christians, to remember who Jesus kept company with. Okay? You might do well to understand that he was the first anti-statist, or he was the first anti-government, anti-banker. You might do well to remember. All right? As protests mount across the U.S., multiple sheriffs openly stand against lockdown. On Wednesday, the IMF issued a warning and urged governments to take action as global social unrest is on the horizon. The IMF cautioned that some countries remain vulnerable to new protests, particularly if policy actions to migrate or mitigate the COVID-19 crisis are perceived as inefficient or as unfairly favoring large corporates rather than people. And this, of course, has happened in the bailout bills. They did not bail the American people out. They gave their friends money. That's what happened. You get $1,200 plus $500 per child, and I'm sure there's a fucking limit to how many children they're going to give you $500 for. And even if they are giving you this money, is that worth your dignity and your freedom? Is it worth your children? Because that's what ultimately will cost you. If these vaccines come rolling out and they're forced, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to end up dead behind those vaccines. That's the point. Remember what Bill Gates said. And remember, he has money in 8 of these. 8. If we do a really good job on our vaccines, remember that? Yeah. So, again, Bill Gates is not a fucking doctor. In the ostensible land of the free, that is indeed the case, as Americans were given a laughable $1,200 for 10 weeks or longer, to stay home, while banks and large corporations received trillions. Do you see what this is all about? It's about robbing you blind, pacifying you, and then never giving back the power that was just ripped from you. You will never get your jobs back. You will never get your freedoms back unless we rebel in a very large physical way. Anything short of that guarantees the final nail, or the final link in your chains of enslavement. So, but there are some sheriffs out there that are not liking this shit at all, because they understand that it is going to be their jobs to face these angry people on behalf of the ruling class, on behalf of those bankers, on behalf of those corporations. Now, are these bankers and corporations really worth your life? I hope you make the right decision. So, anyway, thought I would share this with you all. I hope all of you have a great afternoon, and until next time, killed the state, live free.